This mustache look. Not gonna lie, this mustache starting to take off.
Badass.
Thank you. Thanks, brother. I appreciate it. Welcome back to another episode of Shameful Locks. We're here to talk about what is this, week eight? Week eight? Correct. Correct. It
Yeah,
is week
yeah,
eight.
week 8.
Sorry we were unable to make it last week. We filmed an episode. It got lost in the archives. Our Supreme Leader was not able to edit it in time. Didn't get a graphic either, but he's going to report to HR, probably get a phone call into HR's office tomorrow morning. We'll talk to him. We'll get this straightened out. Hopefully we get this one posted. I'll try to speed this up a little bit because we got a lot of recapping to do. But recording here on a Thursday night, Rams just upset the Vikings, missed face mask in the end zone on Sam Darnold. Should have extended the game. It didn't. Lost a lot of bets. That lost me a lot of money. It was a really good time. Fun time by all. Blake, what'd you think of the game?
Honestly, that was a pretty good game. Not a bad Thursday night game. Usually the Thursday night games are pretty shit. So yeah, this one was pretty good.
I'll agree with that. I'm just not happy about it because I didn't do well on my bets, but it is what it is.
Understandably.
Hopefully I do better here. But we've got some recapping to do. We've got week 6 and 7. We did give picks last week. Like I said, we just didn't get to talk about them. But I'll go over them very quickly. So flashback to week 6. Blake, you went 2-1, positive 0.74 units. You had Baltimore minus 6.5 win. I think that was back when they played the Commanders.
Yep.
Jaden Daniels under 48.5 rushing yards. Cash. Jaden Daniels didn't play well that game, rushing at least. And then your loss of the week was Dak over 276.5 passing. I believe that was against the Lions, and he got benched in the third quarter. Didn't stand a chance. He stunk that game. I went 3-0 2 weeks ago in week 6, which was kind of sick. Had Bears money line in London against the Jags. They beat the crap out of them. I had Gibbs over 57.5 rushing against the Cowboys. Like I mentioned earlier, he did great. And then Derrick Henry over 79.5 rushing. I don't remember who they played. Oh, that was the Commanders week. He got like 100 plus. He's been a beast. There's nothing you can do to stop Derrick Henry right now, to be honest. But yep, I went 3-0. I went positive 2.56 units 2 weeks ago. Last week, these picks that we didn't get to talk about will even go quicker because I feel bad that we're going to be talking about our winning weeks when we weren't even here to talk about them or show them off, which, that just makes me feel bad. But like I said, our editing guy is going to be sent to HR and we'll get this hashed out. Blake, last week's picks that never got shown. You went positive 0.76 units. You had the under in the Browns Cincinnati game under 41.5 cash. I think the final score was 21-14, so finished at 35. Small little 6.5 cushion there for you. Your loss of the week was your player prop. You had Deontay Johnson over 67.5 receiving. I think he had like 11 yards, something like that.
Yep.
That one stunk. And then a shout out I think it's Todd Bowles of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Kept his starters way out there on that Monday night game way longer than he should have. Lost Chris Godwin because of it. But you know what cashed was your lock of the week, which was Baker Mayfield over 258.5. He finished with like 370, but I think with like 8 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, he was sitting at like 200. So
Yeah, he was he's letting them rip it out there. Unfortunately, they lost Chris Godwin, but shout out to Baker for staying in there for no reason and getting hitting that prop.
Yeah, which is great. And again, I feel kind of like a jerk talking about picks that no one got to see, but I feel like the whole point of it is that you at least show that we're honest and we're not just like fugaziing the book saying, hey, we both went 3-0. Oh, sorry, you didn't see the picks. It is what it is. Sucks to suck. But we're keeping it real. These were actually the picks we gave last week. So we're being honest. I also did go 2-1. So like I said, I think we combined went 4-2, which is a good week. I went positive 0.77 units. I had the under in the Giants Philly game. It was like 20-3. The under was 43 flat. My player prop of the week was Baker Mayfield over 1.5 passing touchdowns, which looked like he was going to have that early, and he didn't get that till the fourth quarter. Same with your passing yards. So we were all over Baker. We were right, but to be honest, I feel like that wasn't very well earned. A lot of garbage time stat padding there. And then my lock of the week, which was Chiefs 49ers over 3.5 field goals. This was a very tilting bet for me. Both Mahomes and Brock Purdy played so bad in this game. I think they were both inside the red zone like 3 or 4 times and turned it over on like a third down. So if they had just not turned it over, they would have kicked the field goal. Anyway, only 2 field goals got made in that game. Frustrating one for me. But quickest recap we've done, kind of like Boomer's big 3 minute thing at Monday night halftime. But Blake, we're both sitting at 14-7 on the year. So overall, we're 28-14, hitting at a 67% hit rate on our bets. We're both up. You're up 5.12 units. I'm up 5.99. So overall, good season. Feels good. Not great on the Shameful Locks department. Just on our best bets, we're both sitting at 3 and 4. Would love to get that over to at least 60 some percent, at least in my eyes. But season's almost halfway over. Quick, man. Shit
I
flies.
don't know, man. I don't know why you'd ever say that to me, break my heart like that, but that's just
It's
reality of the
depressing.
situation. But winning weeks, we're making some money, and you can't ask for anything more than that. So,
Yep. And we did go ahead and give a touchdown parlay last week. Shocker to no one, it lost. We fall to 1-5. You picked Saquon in a good revenge game spot. He did cash easily, I believe. And then I had Terry McLaurin, which I want to say that Jaden Daniels getting hurt ruined that, but I just don't think that's the case because I think they won like 43-7 or something like
yeah, it was
that. So
ridiculous.
Terry McLaurin had his chances. He still had like 100 yards, I think. I think he had 98 receiving on the day,
Mm-hmm.
which I mean, he had a shot.
Solid,
But
solid game.
like I said, we followed in 1-5 in the touchdown parlays. We need to pick it up in that department as well. But like we say, if you bet $10 in every single one of these, you're only down $22. So it's not too bad, despite being 1-5.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's hopefully hit off another week here. I don't think we've had. Well, let me do some quick math here. 2.57. I don't think we've had oh no, never mind. Week 3 we had a losing week. We both went 1-2. But no,
Mm,
5 straight winning weeks here on the program. Let's keep it up, Blake. Blake, you're
rock
starting.
on.
Oh no, my phone.
Alrighty. I'm going back. I'm going back to the pot. This one of these teams won me bet last week. We're going with the Browns. I'm taking them plus 8.5 at home versus the Ravens, and I got that minus 105 on FanDuel. Um, so to start 8.5 points, that's a pretty large spread in the NFL. Um, first thought, I'm thinking, all right, divisional game in the AFC North. These are always tight games, always one possession games. It's just the way it is. The Ravens are coming off a huge win over the Buccaneers. I mean, they smoked them. And then the Browns just lost the divisional game at home versus the Bengals. And to be honest, I think Deshaun Watson getting hurt is the best thing that could have happened to the Browns this season. Um, unfortunately, slash fortunately, our guy Jameis Winston is going to be starting for the Browns now, and I think he's going to provide a huge spark for that team. And I think it's going to be a one possession game easily. Like it's like Browns are home. They got a spark from Jameis. 5 of the last 7 matchups between these teams have been a one-score game. So Browns plus 8.5 seems pretty easy.
I love that pick. Defense has not been the issue for the Browns. It's the offense. Their defense has been doing their part of the game, and they have been all year. It's
Yeah,
just the offense has just been really bad.
bad, terrible.
Jameis is fun. Jameis is. I think this is literally just going to be exactly like when Flacco entered last year.
Yeah,
Jameis Winston plays a lot like Flacco. I would argue he's maybe a little bit more athletic. Um, just an honorable mention here. I'm probably going to throw down the Flacco parlay this weekend. It's one of my favorite bets. Jameis 1 touchdown and 1 INT, +1 on each one. It's like plus. I think it's like plus 100 or something like that. It's one of my favorite bets.
it's all
Uh,
time.
just an honorable mention. Doesn't count on the show, but just for the people out there. But I love that pick. I think it's going to be a fun game. I know they got the Ravens, which is a tough one, but yeah, I mean it's a divisional game. It's going to be tighter than people think. I think.
Hell yeah.
All right, I'll go over my pick here. My game pick of the week is going back to the Bears, which have been pretty good to me this year. I took them money line 2 weeks ago, like I mentioned in the recap when they played in London against the Jags. But I'm going to Bears -2.5 this week. They play, I think it's a home game. They play the Commanders, and the Commanders are looking to be without Jaden Daniels as he has a rib injury. I think he's doubtful right now. Which means that backup quarterback Marcus Mariota, who looked good last week, but they were playing the Panthers, so almost anyone could look good there. But to be honest, I'd probably take the Bears even if Jaden Daniels was playing. I just think that like I know Jaden Daniels is elite and he's looked fantastic this first half of the season. But Caleb Williams has really turned it on in the last few weeks too, and I think that the Bears just have a much better defense overall. I think the spread before, on like Monday it was Bears -1, and then it's moved up to -2.5, indicating that Jane Daniels probably isn't going to play. But I get this at -110 on Caesars, and yeah, just give me the team I think that will have their starting quarterback and has a better defense overall.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Commanders without Jaden Daniels, I don't think they're very good. I mean, I think they kind of got lucky last week. They were playing the Panthers, and the Panthers kind of just giving up on the season. So I think -2.5 for the Bears is very achievable.
Yeah, and hold on, let me confirm real quick. Bears are away, so this is on the road at the Commanders, but again, I don't really think that matters as long as Jaden
Yeah.
Daniels doesn't play. But
Mhm.
even if Jaden Daniels plays, I still like this pick just because the team has a better defense.
Agreed. Agreed. All right. So this next pick's a little interesting for me. Going back to well, this is the first pick for ever for this guy. I'm taking Drake May under 213.5 pass yards at -114 on DraftKings. So the Patriots are hosting the Jets. This is kind of more of a field pick for me. I know there's not a lot of information out on Drake May yet, but to be honest, the Jets just got kind of embarrassed by the Steelers on Sunday Night Football. I know they lost a couple guys to injuries, but I mean, the Steelers offense put 37 on them, and the Steelers offense has put 37 on anyone really, except the Raiders. They're still like a top three pass defense, so I think they're going to get a little healthier this week. I think they're kind of embarrassed from last week, so I think they're going to bounce back big time this week. Drake May has passed this line in both of his starts, but I think he's due for a kind of a bad game against this Jets defense. And honestly, I don't think he's a very good quarterback. So I think most of his pass yards the last 2 weeks have been for playing from behind and not great defenses, but okay defenses. So yeah, I'm going with his under here.
Yeah, I don't hate that pick. Drake May, I think he was off to a super hot start last week, but it literally only lasted the first quarter
Hmm.
when they played in London against the Jags. I think he had like 85 pass yards in the first half, and then I think he only finished with like 150 or something like that.
Hmm.
So don't be too scared in case he like comes out of the gates hot. I know they get a tough matchup, like you mentioned, against the Jets defense, who I would say is above average. He's a gunslinger, but he just doesn't have any help, and he's a rookie. I mean, it's a
That's
tough
yeah.
situation for him. I like that player prop. I'll go over to mine real quick. So I am running. I gotta be honest. I think it's getting harder. We're getting to that point of the season where the books are getting sharper and the lines are getting harder to read. Um, some of the lines are a lot higher. I think Derrick Henry's rushing yards is like 96.5, which that isn't crazy, but to bet over
That's a
96
lot.
and a half in the NFL, that's all. I mean, one bad game, you're toast, man.
Yeah.
But I'm not going Derrick Henry. I'm going to a guy who I gotta be honest, I've been a very vocal hater of this guy. But he's looking good. Mr. Joe Mixon, over 76.5 rushing yards. I got this at -110 on BetMGM. Joe Mixon, he's on the Texans this year, and he has been balling, which is weird because he used to be a Bengal for what 5 6 years, and
Yep.
I was always singing how much I think he was so overrated. I think he sucked. He wasn't great on the Bengals in my opinion, but this year he's played in 4 games. He had a little injury with a foot, so I think he missed 2 or 3. But Joe Mixon's averaging 100 and yeah, a little over 100 yards a game. Like I said, small sample size. He's only played in 4 games, but he's hit over 100 yards in 3 of the 4 games. With that one of those games he did not hit, it was the one he got hurt in the first half. But yeah, he's already played the Colts, who they played this week, and he had like 158 rushing yards.
Hmm.
Um, I like him to go ahead and hit that number again. The Colts rushing defense has not been good over the last 3 weeks.
Terrible.
I'll go back here. Last week they let A Chain go off for 77 yards off 15 carries off a Dolphins offense that stinks. 2 weeks ago they had the Titans offense. Tony Pollard in for 93 off 17 carries, and 3 weeks ago they had Tank Bigsby go for 101 on him off 13 carries.
Yep.
Uh, I think that Mixon's going to go all over the place. I think, like I said, he's been really good, which is just so shocking to me as a big Mixon hater. But
Mhm.
hey, go out here and prove me wrong. Like I said, he went for 159 in week one against the Colts. Let's see if he can do it again.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, actually thought about this pick, and then I saw you took it. But yeah, the Colts defense, their rush defense is absolutely awful. Everyone's been running all over him. It's stupid not to take the over on his yardage there, especially the way he's been playing all year. So I do like the pick a lot.
You wanted a depressing fun fact?
Yeah, of course.
You you know the only team who hasn't run it all over the Colts this year?
I know exactly what you're gonna say.
Steelers.
Mothers. It's
That game
hilarious.
sucks so bad.
Yeah.
Um, let's start off on a more positive note here, though. Shameful lock time, best bet of the week. We're both sitting at 3-4. We both are looking for a win this week to get up to that 500 mark.
Oh yeah.
Blake, without further ado, what do you got?
So we're actually going to stay with the Texans, and I'm going
Okay.
to take the quarterback of the Texans, CJ Stroud, over 240.5 pass yards. And I got that minus 115 on DraftKings. So they're playing the Colts. We just talked about that. Colts rush defense sucks. But CJ Stroud is coming off probably his worst performance of his career.
Yep.
He had 86 pass yards. I believe they played the Packers. Um, I'm just expecting CJ to bounce back. He's one of those guys where he's always bounces back from those poor performances. We saw that throughout his career so far and in college. He's broke this line in 2 or 3 games versus the Colts, and the Colts pass defense, I think, it's pretty mid. I think it's ranked 23 in the league right now. And I think as a whole, the Texans are going to bounce back, and I think they might beat the Colts pretty handedly. I think their offense is going to play really well. Joe Mixon, CJ Stroud. I would take both of those overs.
Yeah. And that's pretty low line for Stroud. I know he only, would you say, I think 86 passing yards, which is nuts.
Yeah,
He just
unreal.
did not see the field well last week, but I think this is a
Mm-mm.
great bounce back spot versus a pretty shitty defense. I think his passing yards is usually like an extra 30 or 40 yards.
Yeah,
But just because he had such a bad week last week, the line is really low. So I think
right.
it's a good buy low spot for CJ Stroud. Um, I'm going to roll over to my shameful lock of the week. I am going to a tight end reluctantly here, but I got data here
Hmm.
that backs this one up. I'm going to Dalton Kincaid over 40.5 receiving yards.
Ooh.
I know that's
Hmm.
kind of a tough one, but they play the Seahawks, and I I think that a lot of quarterbacks shred the Seahawks defense recently. Seahawks are in often a lot of shootouts within the last few weeks, but
Yep.
Dalton Kincaid over 40.5 receiving yards. I get this at minus 110 at Bet365. Um, Dalton Kincaid has gone over this 40.5 mark in 4 of the 7 games this year and 3 of the last 4. So he had a little bit slow start to the season, but he's been getting going the last few weeks. And the Seahawks, they have been letting the center of the field get eaten up by tight ends this season. And they're just getting carved up. So the last week they played the Falcons, who they blew out the Falcons. It wasn't, I think they beat
Hmm.
the Falcons by 20. But Kyle Pitts, strange guy. You don't often hear Kyle Pitts and the good things associated in the same sentence. But Kyle Pitts had 7 catches for 65 last week on the Seahawks. Week before that, it was George Kittle on Thursday night, 5 catches, 58 yards. Theo Johnson on the Giants tight end. Not a lot of people familiar with him. You know what he did?
Mm-mm.
5 catches for 48 yards, going over 40.5. If Theo Johnson is doing this, I'd like to think that
Interesting.
Kincaid's going to do this. But even 4 weeks ago when they played the Lions, Laporta, 4 catches, 53 yards. I mean, this is 4 weeks in a row that tight ends have just been carving up the Seahawks defense down the center of the field. I like to think that a good, talented not quarterback, tight end like Dalton Kincaid should be able to get at least 41 yards. I like this one a lot. Just a lot of data to back it up.
Yeah, to be honest, when you first mentioned the pick, I was like a little iffy because I haven't been Donkey Kincaid's been kind of disappointing this year. I thought he'd be more of a breakout candidate, but after hearing all the data, I love the pick now. So you sold me with all that data.
Yes, that's huge.
So,
That's massive for the brand. Like I said, we're both sitting at 3-4. These are supposed to be our best bets. We need to get back
mhm.
into winning these. So hopefully we can
Yes,
win them.
sir.
Touchdown parlay time. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the episode, we're 1-5, but don't let that deter you too much. We will get one win here. We're in the positive this year. Like I said, mentioned if you've only been putting $10 down on every single one of these, like we recommend, you'd only be down $22, which doesn't sound great because we're losing. But all it takes is one big parlay winner, and we're back up. But for those who are unfamiliar, we both take one guy. We like to score a touchdown this week, and we parlay the two, and we run it up. This week, I'm going to another receiver. I'm going to go ahead and take Tyreek Hill. They play against the Arizona Cardinals this week. And I got to be honest, this has not been a fun offense to watch this year at all. Ever since Tua got out, this is like the worst offense by a billion. They stink. But Tua's back this week, which is
Mm.
huge for the Dolphins. And Tyreek Hill was chirping it up with the media saying, "Oh my gosh, you need to start me this week. Run up the band. It's going to be great. Start me in your fantasy leagues. Bet on me." All right, Tyreek, I will.
Yeah, it's hard. That's hard to argue against. He likes to run his mouth, but he produces when Tua is a quarterback. So
Mhm.
it's a good bet.
Thank you.
So I'm gonna go to the Bears actually, and usually I just been pretty random with these, but I'm gonna go with DeAndre Swift against the Commanders. I think the Bears win the game. I think the Commanders' defense is not very good, and DeAndre Swift has been playing pretty well lately. So I'm gonna rock with him.
Heck yeah. But if you go ahead and parlay these two, you can get them parlayed at plus 384 on Bet365. I think the second highest was plus 383 on DraftKings. So pretty similar odds based off whatever book you're able to use. But yay, we win this one. We're right back in the winning column. We might be 2-5, but we'll be up money on the TD parlay, which has not been hitting a ton this year. But all it takes is one, you know.
We'll be back. We'll be back.
Hey, we'll be back. All right. Well, it's getting pretty late here on the East Coast on a Thursday night. It is 11:47, so
Hmm,
I'm getting eepy, if you will.
true. Yeah, man. Let's win some bets this week. Watching football and another great weekend.
Yeah, and the boys have been hot lately. Like I said, we've had 5 winning weeks in a row. Hopefully, we can keep that up.
Yes, sir.
Boy knows we need it after tonight. All right, got to take us out.